Hey everyone, Shaun Murray here, and welcome to the first episode of the WWA World Series Rundown. This is 2017, and we're going to keep you up to date with things that are going on and off the water. This is a level of riding that's happening right now that we have not yet to see, and we want to keep you guys informed on what's happening. Alongside me, I've got Mr. Brad Smeele to take us through who we have here today.
Yeah, thanks, Shaun. It's definitely an honour to be here, and amongst these three special guests we got here today, down the end we've got Mike Dowdy, Meagan Ethell, and Harley Clifford, which are three of the top riders to look out for this coming 2017 season. Now, starting off with you, Harley, going back to last year, you started off with such a strong season, and you had some great wins, and then about halfway through the season you had a bit of a knee injury there. Now, talk us through what happened.
Yeah, definitely. It was a short season for me, and sort of something I've never really had to deal with before. It was my first big injury. I came into the season, came in hard. I won 2 of the WWA events back to back, and then I was out riding, filming for an X Games piece, and I came down short on a double back roll, straight legged, and hyperextended my leg, and ended up tearing my ACL. So I don't know. From that day on, it sort of changed. I went straight back to Australia, got surgery, hung out there for a month, and just sort of, I don't know, it was different for me to sit back on the sidelines and sort of I don't know, I've been wakeboarding since I was so young. It was nearly refreshing to just be able to have a break and rethink everything and train hard and come back strong.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, the ACL is one of those injuries that's pretty standard in wakeboarding, and in fact,
I think everyone in this room's done it. So yeah, it's definitely standard.
So, but what I found really impressive was particularly the way you approached it. You took longer off the water than is usually suggested by a surgeon. Usually the standard is 6 months. You kind of extended it out to 8, and just you really, you had a lot of discipline with that, and it was just incredible to see the way you started off this season and how strongly you came back. And now what I guess my question is, we definitely saw you working really hard with the rehab, the physical therapy and things like that. Was there a mental side of things as well? Did you focus on your riding or think about the tricks? Because to keep that muscle memory must be so difficult, especially after 8 months, but you came back so strong.
Yeah, I guess a big thing for me, it's not I was a fit athlete that got injured and then trying to get back to where I was. I was not fit before I got injured, so that was a big thing for me to train and come back hard and be fitter than I was before. And then just during that process, it's nearly how you talk about the muscle memory and stuff. I nearly just tried to not even think about wakeboarding. I just didn't, I don't know, just really took the time to just have the time, not have to worry about it and just do my thing. And then I missed out on a lot of that sort of stuff growing up, since I've been wakeboarding and traveling since I was 9 years old. So it's cool just to step away from everything and refresh my mind and come back.
Let me ask you, because you talked about not being fit before. I've been injured a lot over my career, and when I got injured, it got to the point where anytime I was in that healing process, I almost enjoyed it. When I got hurt at first, I was but then I learned if I got injured, that was a potential to come back stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
And not only you come back stronger, but you appreciate being on the water.
Yeah.
And it makes it more fun. Did you kind of find that?
Yeah, especially obviously the whole time my whole goal is just to come back stronger and fitter and try and be better. So I really worked on that. But now I'm back on the board. Wakeboarding's so much more fun than what it used to be. For a while it got stale, and I don't know, I was sort of just going out and doing the same things every time I rode. But now I'm I don't know, I feel better on the water. I feel I can move better, and I'm just enjoying it so much more.
That's really cool. Now, as we mentioned, all the riders here have gone through the knee injury, and Megan's actually just recently come back from an injury as well, and you've been on the water about a month now.
Yeah.
So tell us how things are feeling.
It's feeling good, just getting everything back, kind of cruising into it. It gets sore obviously, but I've just been enjoying it as well with Harley. Like you said, it's super fun coming back, but also when you have that break, you also take that mental side and just take off, and you really just regroup yourself and come back more focused and more ready to.
When did you get injured? When did you get injured?
I got injured in June and had my surgery in July. So.
How'd you do it?
I was actually riding the strongest I'd been. I was really excited for the Reno contest that we had coming up. It was the same week of that contest, but I was doing my contest passes and the boat turned around and I was going into the cove. Like I was just trying to finish my pass like really quickly, and we were just going into the cove and the wake got really small and I just overshot. I was doing a melon heel off 3 and just landed in the trough and hyperextended my front leg.
But you were on a roll before that. You were having a good season.
Yeah,
So
I was really focused last season. I was trying to have an undefeated season behind the boat, but plans have changed. But I think it's for the better. Like I obviously was really focused, but I feel like having that mental break always is good to have, coming back stronger and enjoying it more.
Up to that point, you had won how many contests in a row, and then you're ready to win the next one, and then you're injured. How many were you going back to back at that point?
I had 4 contests back to back of the but yeah, I was really focused, but I mean, obviously you don't plan for stuff like that to happen, and it's devastating at first, but I mean, I just think that everything happens for a reason. Maybe,
You can give a bit more appreciation for it as well. Like
definitely.
Taking it away for a little while, then you're just itching to get back on the water.
Yeah. So hard to watch from the sidelines, so you're just like, oh, I wish I was out there, but
if you go to an event when you're injured,
it's the worst.
I enjoyed watching from the sidelines, especially when they had the live feeds and stuff. I just sit on,
that's cool. But
sit
if
on my
you're
computer all day.
at the event and you are watching people compete, you're like, oh, this.
You know what was hard? I was injured. Mine was really bad because I blew almost all the ligaments at one time, and so I had a long recovery process. But it was when I was coaching a lot, and I had to go on the boat and coach people for months and just hobble onto the boat and never get onto the water.
So you couldn't even get away.
You're standing there telling people how to do stuff and not be able to do it.
It's almost torturing yourself with your favorite thing in front of you that you can't do.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, we've been watching video footage online and on social media starting off this year, and as I mentioned, Harley coming back super strong, and seeing these video edits drop with multiple doubles, and then Mike, we've been seeing these last couple of ones, back to back double flips, 3 in a row,
cool,
and everything else going on. So I mean, I think everyone's gearing up for this battle between particularly you two, but then there's a couple others as well that we've got to watch for. But I mean, tell us about your mentality and everything going into this season. Is there anything different, or is it just sort of keeping with the same old?
It's kind of just staying with the same old. Like last year Harley was injured and he came out like guns blazing, and it was super sick to watch. And I don't know, I know he's worked super hard, and I know what it's like to come back from injury, and it sucks and it makes you hungrier than ever. So I don't know, it's kind of just the same thing, just keep working on what I can do better and just try and take it into each event and just see how it goes.
When was your injury? You had a knee injury as well?
Yeah, 2014. 2014 I think.
Okay.
So I was out all 2014, and then 15, 16 I was riding again.
Okay. And it's not to put the damper on you got injured and you got injured. And everybody's getting injured. But it's to actually show the bright side. You've got some of the top level riders in the world had some pretty bad injuries, and you guys are battling back through that and proving you can come back strong. But like Brad said, right now you guys are taking those injuries and you're training hard. And not that people haven't taken the sport seriously in the past, because I used to go to the gym. Darren and I would go to the gym together and we'd work out. Rusty's been doing it for a while. But you're really seeing a lot of the younger guys coming up and girls, and they're hitting the gym. Now, I think a lot of that can be attested to the fact that social media allows everybody to say
I'm at the gym.
Here I am at the gym. Guess what? Sponsors, I'm at the gym. Like checking in, and so we can kind of stay informed on who's going. But I think it's also giving the other riders more fire. They're going to the gym, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah, it's funny. Like
Like-
when someone's doing something that you're not doing, it like makes you like you snap into it, and you're like, well, if he's doing it, like I gotta
need to be working
I gotta
harder.
do that too.
Yeah, if this guy's going to the gym and he's landing doubles or he's doing,
Yeah,
riding
exactly.
well,
Doing
then
something right.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how much it actually makes a difference.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I feel so much better on the wakeboard now than what I used to.
Yeah.
And I think what it comes down to is actually, being a professional wakeboarder, like really putting everything into it and dedicating the time that you're not on the water to still bettering
Do stuff that's related.
bettering yourself and your condition so that it translates back to the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's been really cool to see. But I mean, sometimes it gets a bit much seeing people posing in front of the mirror at the gym every now and again.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Are you guys when you're going to the gym? Start with you. Are you going with a trainer who has like this regime? He's like, I want you to do these squats because I know a lot of stuff that you do. You're gonna put your wakeboard on when you're working out.
Get the abs going on the bars.
Let's cut to that photo.
No, but seriously, like, are you specifically working with a trainer who has like this regime? Or are you like, no, I'm just going in there. I'm just gonna do things that feel right.
Yeah, well, I worked with a trainer in America, and Mike and Megan both work with him as well. His name's Justin, and he's really good. He knows what he's doing, and he trains us sort of like all specific to wakeboarding and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went back to Australia, I started training with this trainer named Taylor, and they sort of like brought a whole new aspect of like not only just training like all this crazy like breathing exercises stuff and way to just like calm yourself down when you're out on the water and to like calm yourself down like really quick, so if you like land a trick really sketchy and you're flustered, just to like quick like little things you can think about to get back into it. And sort of cool stuff like that has helped a lot. And he's like a really good trainer. He trains like Alana Blanchard and Jack Freestone and stuff, so he's like familiar with like surfing and stuff, and he sort of just had fun with me and translated like a lot of the stuff from him and then snowboarders he's worked with, and then just kind of like try to mix it all in one and benefit me.
Competitive edge. Cool. Megan?
I train with Justin, and I've done my first rehab for my knee with him and my second one as well. But if I'm healthy, I'm usually training CrossFit in the off season just because I like the big group workouts, like the really intense, get yourself moving. But I've just been training with Justin since I've been back as well, just to keep the flow going, to keep up with my training.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mike, heavy into Taibo and jazzercise.
Jazzercise, yeah.
I saw.
I do my pool exercises too with the floaties.
I've been doing Zumba lately. It's pretty good.
Nice. Trainer that you're working with, I'm pretty sure you're working with somebody.
Yeah, his name's Justin. It's the same guy Harley and Megan use, and for me it's become like all about like everything I'm doing like in a day, like I try and like make habits that go like from start of the day to end of the day, and it like makes every day like exactly the same, so I wake up at the same time, I go to sleep at the same time, same amount of hours of sleep, breathing exercises at like the same time, riding at the same time, and so it's become like almost like scientific or like real structured for me. And I don't know, I guess that just does it for me.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It becomes like more like a job, I guess, and not really like just something I go out and do just for the sake of doing it. It becomes like real focused or real
Goal oriented.
Yeah, like particular. Like everything's really like set in a
just
certain
really
way.
professional. I think is what it comes down to, and I think for some athletes, everyone has their different style or their different routine that works for them in terms of pushing themselves on the water. But I mean, this sort of routine for you is really showing us, like, I mean, that, and I think that's kind of brought about a lot of all these other younger guys going to the gym and really being strict with their training, sort of come across from what you've been doing and the performances you've had on the water. I mean, looking at last year, taking up the Wakeboard World Series title. Tell us a little bit about the start of this year. Moomba, you didn't quite have the start you wanted.
No.
But then, and look at who else was there and the other riding and sort of the competition that you're facing this season.
Yeah, last year was good. Like, Harley was injured, and so I guess I gave some guys some time on the podium that, they might not normally get. But I don't know, yeah, I went to Moomba and like I didn't have my bag show up, and over the off season I had to get like a nose surgery, and so like coming into Moomba I was just like like a little bit behind, like what I would have liked to have been, and I actually did like in the quarterfinal like one of the best passes I've ever done, and I was in a heat with Harley, and Harley's like pass that he did like edged mine out. So when the final like came about, I was like, well, I have to do something like different, or I tried to do something to the flats, which I like just wasn't really doing at the time, and it was just kind of like I was just like, everyone's going to the flats, like you might as well just do it, and if you fall, like, you know, whatever, at least you went for it. And so that's what I tried to do, and yeah, it just didn't pay off, but you learn from it. And
it was insane. I was there and I got to announce that event, and the quarterfinals, like you guys came out just guns blazing. Like I was like, really, quarterfinals, like first event of the season. Like, this is what's happening. Like,
well, I wasn't gonna do any of that stuff, and then once I saw him do his double first trick, I was like, all right, well, I'll see what happens here.
So to talk about that, Harley, you came off of a knee injury, and everybody was like, okay, Harley's coming into the contest. Is he back at 100%? What's he gonna, pull out? And not only did you come back strong, first trick you did off the wake.
Or yeah, double tantrum, I guess. But yeah, from like day one of like my knee injury, I swear I just like said that in my head, and then like it's been on my mind come back.
You said the first trick I do in a comp is gonna be
a double flip, and then so I came to the event and I'd been doing well, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's a good way to go about it. Not letting the injury sit in the back of your mind, and not taking, not being too cautious.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's when the injuries can happen, is when you're not completely committed, or so that's really cool. It was amazing to watch, and I heard there was some ridiculous number of doubles that went down in the one heat you guys were in, and then watching the finals, we saw Corey Tunison come out with the win, dropping that 10, which literally dropped out of, it was ridiculous.
That's unreal.
and he had his double flip in there as well. So I think that sort of sets the scene for what we're going to see throughout this season. There's going to be 1080s, double flips. I mean, and there's one thing I was thinking about as well, is that sort of amplitude aspect, where for a while there in the events there was an actual requirement, and I don't know if it's still there, where you have to do like a 360 or less, or a sort of a straight air type thing.
It's kind of an unspoken rule.
But I feel like now that, I mean, that was sort of an opportunity for people to just unleash, either a big, going back a few years, either a big glide or something, a big backside 180 to the flats. And even though I think, that's definitely still happening, I feel like we're seeing some of the technical tricks crossing over into that amplitude, into the flats. Like for you, you've got your tail grab KGB into the flats. You just take absolutely massive. I mean, we see a lot of these riders coming out, and you guys just going huge on tricks that traditionally would be done wake to wake. So
yeah, that's been a big focus the last couple of weeks riding, is like learning a couple extra tricks to the flats and stuff. I think like that this year, like everyone's got big tricks, like little things like that are really going to help differentiate you from like other riders.
Definitely. And we look at sort of some of the underdogs and the guys that could throw a bit of a spanner in the works. So obviously Corey's been crushing it. I don't know if you'd even call him, you wouldn't call him an underdog. He's definitely
top dog.
For sure. But then you've got the likes of the young gun like Nick Rapper. And then you've got the sort of the more seasoned veterans like Dean Smith coming out with that sort of style that we're talking about.
That's sort of like a lot of it, like where that stuff I think came from. Like Dean looks so much like nicer out on the water than anyone else in a contest. Like a lot of the people that don't know what's going on, they see him going massive and they're like, all right, that's sick.
Yeah, it's just about being well-rounded too. Like Harley said, everyone's doing like the same tricks, the double flips, the tens. Like everyone's doing that stuff, but when you like break it down into the details of like, did this guy send one extra trick to the flats, or did he grab a bit longer? Like you start breaking it down into nuance, and that's when you really like see wins from losses. Yeah,
making sure you've got that point of difference to set you out from everyone else.
I think that like when you look at the contest scene from the 30,000 foot view, and I like to remind people, like the point of the contest is really two things. Number one, just to show the current state of the sport of competitive riding. Like you have free riding, which people can go and try a trick a bunch of times. But then like what is done on a consistent basis in this environment is like showing this is where riding is. And the other, I think, goal, what contests are to do, is to entertain a crowd, right? And that really, what you're talking about, kind of lends itself to being entertaining to the people who don't necessarily know that guy was spinning backside or switch toe side or whatever it may be. When you see somebody blast a huge tech trick or a big spin into the flats, like a Dean Smith back 7, like, you don't need to know anything about the sport to go, that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so it is very true. Like, when you're seeing the blend of technical yet entertaining because it's big, like, that's where I think guys set themselves apart.
Yeah. But I mean, even for us as riders watching, like, I find it way cooler to watch Dean Smith blast in the flats and do those crazy tricks, and like, I know how technical it is to boost like 100 foot out into the flats and try and do a back 7, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just had Dean over yesterday. It was pretty unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to watch him from the boat, it's like one of the craziest experiences.
Seriously, you're just like, how are you doing that every time you cut at the wake?
Yeah.
I tell him, he gets in the
Nice.
boat,
I know.
and I tell him, be like, hey, you know there's a second wake you can land. You can touch that sometimes.
That's pretty funny.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
No.
I'm right.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, cool. Now, I mean, obviously talking about the competition with you guys, but Meagan, I mean, while you were out last year, you would have been watching, obviously, the rest of the girls competing, and who are sort of some of the other girls that you've sort of been keeping your eye on, or that you see as sort of your main competition throughout this season?
I mean, all the girls are killing it. Probably Zara, Kel, and Nicola. They're really stepping up their game. Obviously, like, Nicola has been pushing her riding, and Zara's super young and coming out and learning a bunch of new tricks.
She's 13. Yeah, how does that make you feel? There's like a 13-year-old girl out there that is like one of the top.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I mean, I started becoming a pro when I was like 13 as well. And
Yeah, true. Yeah.
so, I mean, I kind of know like where she's at, just coming up and being that young and being able to crush it. So I give her a lot of props. She's killing it. And it obviously like pushes
Imagine me
to
asking like a 13-year-old kid coming up. I'd be like, what do I do?
That's like Phil,
He's 13 and like almost as good as me.
Right,
That's
that's
crazy.
Wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
he was so young when he came through.
I remember running against you in a heat, and you were 13, and this is still something I'll claim for the rest of my life, being able to beat you in a heat. But, you know, I try to leave out the fact that you were 13 at the time.
Yeah, no.
No, you don't have to mention that part.
Some of the other girls, Raimi is always a contender.
Yeah, she's super consistent, always crushes it.
You know who's also poked her head into a lot of finals and done pretty well is Tara.
Yeah, Tara.
She trains hard. Like, she goes and she gets after it. She trains pretty hard.
Erica's running really well too. Like, I see her, she
Erica,
trains at the gym that I go to with Justin, and she's like just such a workworkhorse. Like,
Yeah, I trained with her yesterday. She
cannot
out-trained me.
make it
Yeah,
Really?
she
Yeah,
is-
you can't make
she
it tired.
definitely
It's like
pushes
so
you.
crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be an interesting season. I'm super excited to be back though.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear a lot of marketing around, like, this year is the best riding ever. But, like, honestly, after I left Moomba, after the first round, after the quarterfinals, I was like, this year is going to be insane. You know, just with what's going down and the consistency and the equipment, like the wakes that we have right now. Like, nobody hits double ups anymore. Don't really need to hit double ups because the wakes are so big.
It's too scary.
Like,
Yeah.
like the wakes, like, before we used to have to hit a double up to have the hang time. That's happening now, and it happens every time off the wake. So, like, all of you guys here have a lot of firsts in the sport, between contest results of first to do this in a comp or off the wake free riding. So you guys have done a lot here. Touch just briefly on that. You guys, this is me trying to toot your own horn, but I just don't know all the stats. I mean, I can tell you some of them.
Coming from someone who's probably had more firsts than anyone else in the sport, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you talking to me or him?
No, I'm talking about
you.
you. I'm talking about
Me?
my rating.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't ride contests.
First one to have a video game.
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty
there
wild.
you
No, I'm not
You gotta
trying to
have
toot. No.
You should have had it playing like in the
Harley.
You
Harley's
should be obsessed with that game.
2 perfect scores, 200s, right? Masters and Moomba.
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've done that.
First contest bad.
Not bad.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Not
guess.
Any other big moments? I mean, you've been known to do multiple like whirly dick to switch whirly dick.
Yeah.
Nobody else really doing that.
Yeah, in a contest, there's probably been a couple of things I've done. I did the first like double flip off the wake in a contest and stuff like that. So
What double was it?
I did like double Indy tantrum in Texas.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Maybe like
I remember
2010
watching
or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It was a really long time. No,
Yeah.
not 2010. It would have been like
Yeah.
12 at least. Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
It was
in your
12
past.
because I think
Yeah.
this is the year I rode that last
Yeah,
year.
you weren't in
Yeah.
pro. Yeah, you're in junior.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
And
it.
then-
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I did those 3 double flips in that run at Masters and done 2 double flips a couple times. And yeah, I don't know. This year's going to be cool though. It'll be cool to see what first go down this year. You know, wakeboarding's been so competitive and there's been like a lot of stuff that's already been done, but people are riding so much better now. So it'll be cool to see some of the
Yeah.
firsts that go down this year.
Well, it's crazy to think. I mean, there's with the amount of guys. I mean, there's the handful at the top of you guys that are doing your double flips and things like that. But then we saw some results last year. The likes of Tony Iacone, who's not going upside down twice,
Yeah.
but he's absolutely ripping. You know, those sorts of guys that. I mean,
Well, it just goes to show, like, you see all these little videos of us, like, doing 3 double flips in a row and, like, all these crazy tricks and stuff. But really, when it comes down to the contest, it's just who is the best and the most consistent on the day.
exactly.
And anyone can be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's multiple handfuls of guys that could, you know, have the best ride, you know, have that day. You never know. Like sometimes the best rider out there on the water could have an off day, and someone who is usually not, you know, up on the top of the podium
Yeah.
could just absolutely crush it. And that's a really cool thing about our sport. And you
Exactly,
know, and about,
yeah.
So along that, and we'll get back to these guys and like history making, but that's a interesting subject to talk about is who is giving you guys breathing room because they're not currently doing doubles, and if they were doing doubles,
Like, Noah
There
Fleetwood,
is-
Tony
There is no breathing
Iacone.
room out
those
of
are
it.
the two that come to my mind is Noah and Tony.
Yeah.
Right?
What do
Yeah,
you mean?
both of them had
If-
runs
if-
that if they had a
if they
double
had
flip
double
in it.
flips-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But because they're not doing it, they give you guys just a little breathing room, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you can pretty much like estimate that like if you land a double flip, you're gonna be on the podium if you stick the rest of your run.
Yeah.
Like I proved that last year. Like that's pretty much all. Like I did a double flip and then I was on most of the podiums. Like, so if there's only 3 guys doing them and you land one and you stick the rest of your pass, you can pretty much guess where you're gonna land up.
because you look at most of the riders are going to have some sort of a heel 9,
Yeah.
possibly a toe 9,
Yeah,
some
couple
mode
nines,
5s. You know, and with that combination, throw a couple of double flips in there, and it's pretty much securing that
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
top spot. But I think, you know, when you got, you know, you guys and the likes of Corey and everyone who's got those combinations, double flips as well as 1080s or backside 9s or whatever
Yeah.
crazy other spins and Mob 7s even. It's going to be a really exciting season to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Meagan, real quick, some firsts in women's wakeboard history for you.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really like taken note, but I mean, I have won a lot of the overalls, and I've won the wakeboarding mag best women's rider 3 years in a row. That's a pretty big accomplishment for me. Some of the technical moves, being able to land those, like as many as there are, you know,
Yeah.
in a pass, and just overall.
Cool.
I mean-
What's your aim for 17? What? you're
Well, I
saying,
mean,
this is
last
what
year I
wanna do.
had a lot of goals. Like I was planning on throwing a heel 7 in my pass. Like I had it on dial and right before the Reno contest, and then I blew my knee out right before it. So that was one of my big goals for last year. But for 2017, it's just being healthy, getting back, being strong, and just being really strong with my riding. I just want to just make it look good and just come back and have my knee feeling good so I can continue to become better and put my knee.
But winning a
injury-
title is in there somewhere.
Obviously,
Yeah, you want that
I
top
wanna-
spot.
I want a
Come
title,
on.
But the main focus is just having my knee strong and not like getting rid of the pain and having it be good for the years to come.
Cool.
So.
Okay, Dowdy, talk about firsts You've had some really big firsts off the wake.
Yeah, probably most notably was the double roll to blind I did. I did it in like 2014 or something, and that was like a bit ahead of its time, I'd say. And then more recently, I did a wake to wake 1260, and those are kind of the two things that I've really stapled as kind of my first things that I've ever done, and yeah, put out a good starting point, I'd say.
Without counting in your head right now, how many handle passes are in a 1260?
That's 4.
Okay.
Let's like double check
We're all
that.
just thinking about it.
I think it's 5.
It's 5.
Five.
Yeah.
It's 5. Yeah. I just had to do it in my head.
Yeah, me too. I was like, dude. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, the level of
That's
of
4.
riding. Back,
You
front,
land.
back, front, back, and across. Yeah. 5, right?
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
10's full.
Did it once, haven't done it since.
One and done.
One and done.
That's awesome. Well, the level of riding, I mean, this year is looking insane, and already getting to witness Movement Masters in person was unreal. So, Brad, we still have quite a year ahead of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a stacked season. Plenty of events to come, and also traveling around the world, going to some international locations, which is going to be really cool. And I know you guys are all excited about that, and I'm definitely excited to be watching it. I'll be tuning in from back in New Zealand, and excited to watch how the season unfolds.
Yeah.
Gonna be a wild one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I'm going to be following along, tuning in with these guys at the events and keeping you guys up to date. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.